Hello, and welcome to the Jeffrey Breedwell audiocast. My name is Jeff, and this is episode 15 of the audiocast, and I am so excited that you're here. I really am. Like, words cannot express. Okay, it's really weird, though, if I say words cannot express and I'm a writer. Like, shouldn't that be my job? To express words? Words cannot express how I really feel about you. But you're a writer. Shut up. That just doesn't make sense. Like, I should be able to express words, right? That's literally what a writer is one that tells stories, to express things in word form. I should be able to use words, right? Sometimes the words come to me quite easily. Other times, they don't necessarily come to me quite easily, and it takes me a minute. And if you don't believe me, I can leave a completely unedited episode up for some people who are like paying, because there's a lot of blank spots that are happening within here, and I make sure that everything's, cut down. It's nice and neat, kind of, but still able to let you know that, hey, this is an actual person recording this and not some AI voice that is doing impressions of Mickey and Scooby-Doo and everything else. Wait a minute, you're telling me that's not your real voice? No, I'm saying this is my real voice. Right, but you're saying that Mickey Mouse is not there. No, Mickey Mouse is not here. Oh, that's just bollocks, isn't it? Who used to say Mickey Mouse is not there? Oh, well, I'm sure Mickey Mouse is not here. Well, I was here, but, then I used a wormhole to kind of get back over to Anaheim. And then I used another wormhole to get back to Orlando. There's just a lot of wormholes and a lot of different, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly type stuff. Like, yeah, dude, there's so many fun stuff that we gotta do that's like extra quantum mechanics thing. Yeah, riots. I stand corrected. See, there you go. But anyway, this is the fun part. And it's the fun part that I get to be able to show you and express, and how I use the words and how I use the voices of just how things roll. And one of the things that kind of shows you just how things roll with that is the fact that I have AuDHD. Now, you can go back to the whole Vindicated episode to hear more about it and kind of really what it means to me. But AuDHD means you have autism and ADHD. I have both of those and more. I have so many issues, I should open a comic book store. Just a library of different things. I should just open that. But today's episode is not about me having AuDHD and what life is like with that. Today is an episode for my fellow writers, particularly the ones who will happen to find themselves in the neurological divergent community or neurodivergent community. This one's for you, because it's titled, How I Tricked My AuDHD to Write 3 Books. Because that's what happened. I tricked my AuDHD, my failing of all of the things mentally. I tricked myself to accomplishing a goal where I wrote 3 books, the first of which comes out this June. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get into today's sponsor in just a minute, but we're going to let you know and start things out with the blog. As here we go, How I Tricked My AuDHD to Write 3 Books. An issue I have with my AuDHD isn't the fact that it exists. It's not the part that distracts me that ultimately leads to one task having 95 pre-tasks that must be completed beforehand. It's not even the part where the normal places people go and enjoy send me into a tailspin. It's the fact that I am constantly warring with myself. One part wants spontaneous action, while the other side wants consistent peace. There's nothing wrong with either side, but both things are true at the same time, all the time. Honestly, some days can be too much. Do you go through this too? Maybe you have ADHD or just autism. Sure, Just autism makes it sound like ADHD is somehow superior, but it's not. They're on the same field of the spectrum of neurodiversity. Maybe you have neither, and instead you find yourself in the neurodivergent apartment complex with such diagnosed conditions as DiGeorge syndrome, Down syndrome, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, dyslexia, dyspraxia, bipolar disorder, OCD, Prader-Willi syndrome, anxiety, depression, Tourette's, or Williams syndrome. And that's not an exhaustive list. Talk to your doctor to see if you're neurodivergent today. Maybe you're one of the majority of the people in the world and you're neurotypical. You don't have neurodiversity per se, but you're an individual who wants to figure out how to write the book you've been putting off for years. Regardless of why you're here and you clicked on this episode, you are welcome. And I'll show you how I hacked the executive function of my brain to complete a goal I had by the time I turned 40. Writing a book. And I wanted to let you know that this audiocast is listener supported. So please feel free to subscribe, like, comment. Those parts will just really help out tremendously. But also you can show up to jeffreybreedwell.com. That's GEOFFREY, Breedwell, just like I would breed well, to get yourself a quality Skull and Quills shirt today. It's honestly the best way to support. It's a black shirt with the Skull and Quills logo just right there on the chest. It's a solid, heavyweight, 100% cotton shirt. The best part is that it's $22.95 with free shipping anywhere in the continental United States. You can get it right there at jeffreybreedwell.com. Get yours today. Okay, so my dad was one of the biggest influences on my creative life. During my formative years, he wasn't around much. It wasn't that he didn't love us. He was busy putting on plays in downtown Nashville, Tennessee during the 1990s. He wrote and produced many of the plays he did, and starred in the plays he didn't write or produce. He would pull us into that world when it suited him, mainly assigning us roles to play. My sister played a part in a production of Where's BBW, with a group of young actors at Actors Playhouse, which was located above the Papa John's on West End in Nashville. The cast was even featured on WSMV, the local NBC affiliate, on a Saturday morning. As I said in the behind the scenes of Just Put the VHS in the Bag, Bro, one of the ways I connected with my father during this time was writing. I started doing this in 5th grade, and he would help, more like correct, my work. Every time we left the movies, we discussed the movie critically, focusing on the story beats. He taught me more in those conversations than in any class I took later in life. If it weren't for those moments, then I wouldn't have the basis or passion for story as I do now. I read as many books as I could and learned what he didn't have time to teach. And the book that caught my imagination the most was by the screenwriter of one of my favorite movies in the 1990s, Blank Check, 1994, Blake Snyder, and his book, Save the Cat, the last book on screenwriting you'll ever need. His website, savethecat.com, holds many resources for the process I took literally. It was the last screenwriting book I bought. The trick. All right, enough backstory. Let's get into the process. Here's how I played my brain like a guitar. This trick has a process, and with it, the good part comes at the end. However, I will tell you, this is essentially the opposite of pantsing, i.e. riding by the seat of your pants. This process is calculated and organized, and that's completely on purpose. There are 3 easy steps to the trick. Step 1, logline. The logline is the story's elevator pitch in a single sentence or two. It's the 50,000-foot view of the story. This is where you hook your reader, regardless of who it is. Creating this part first instead of last saves you tons of time. If there's a problem here, it's easy to see. There are crucial plot points that must fit within a good logline, and honestly, publishers and producers alike run on loglines. Having this pitch early allows you to write your book to support that logline. Let me show you an example. Two high school losers from Hollywood, Indiana must save the world from aliens by finding an ancient VHS tape while evading a Mexican cartel. That's the logline I used for just put the VHS in the bag, bro. Another example. Back to the Future. A young man is transported to the past where he must reunite his parents before he and his future cease to exist. While there aren't any specific ways to write a logline, according to NFI, National Film Institute, limiting it to 50 words or so with the following parts aids in creating a hook so concise it becomes irresistible to the reader. If your logline is great, you can use it in marketing to help sell your book. This logline, for example. A spirited farm boy joins a rebellion to save a princess from a sinister Imperial enforcer and the galaxy from a planet-destroying weapon. So you have the protagonist, a spirited farm boy, joins a rebellion. That's an action. His goal, to save a princess from a sinister Imperial enforcer. Well, there's your antagonist. And the setting is the galaxy from a planet-destroying weapon. That's the problem. Finding something like that is your logline. Step 2. Outline. The outline, much like the outline of the academic papers we all had to write since the 3rd grade, is the skeleton of your story. If the logline is the hook, the outline is the fishing line and bait. Blake Snyder created a beat sheet to organize the story structure after noticing the same structure used for many stories. Beat sheets are outlines at their most basic. It plots your story based on the structure's beats, allowing a book, play, screenplay, teleplay to tell the story in a way that leaves the reader satisfied at the end. While different genres have slightly different beats due to their rules, they follow the same basic structure as every story ever told. No matter whose outline you're following, it all tells the same structure used since the Enuma Elish and the Odyssey. If you've never used a beat sheet or outline for your writing, I highly suggest it. It is the essential action for the trick for the executive function in my AuDHD brain. I cannot write without it. Blake Snyder explains the genres and even gives a blank beat sheet on his website. That link is going to be located in the show notes. For this second crucial step, I expand the logline to create the acts and fill them from there. I write the basic parts of the story during this step. It's not the 50,000 foot view from earlier. This is more like the 25,000 foot view. We can see bits and pieces of the story, but this outline is entirely internal. Once this is done, and only once this is done, I can move on. Step 3. Research and world building. You cannot write what you don't know. Well, you can, I guess. I went over this in a previous blog about accuracy versus substance. The research is key after you write your outline, only because it gives you the things to look up. It gives you the moments to experience and knowledge to gain. Your outline then becomes a shopping list of what to know to the best of your ability to describe things accurately. For fantasy and sci-fi writers, this can also count as world building. Your outline gives you what in the world needs to be built. What do the dragons look like? What are the moments where magic exists? How is that magic structured? What limitations does this world have? These questions are essential to answer before you start writing. I place these in a notepad document for quick access. Now, I do need to clarify something. What you're writing in this step can be changed. This is your story after all. You are the authority on things you write, given you've done the research and world building. If things seem better later, however, you are free to change it. It's your world, your story, and your story is more important than anything at all, ever. The play. After you've set up everything, including any file folders or whatnot for your organizational areas, you're finally ready to write your first draft. This is the hardest portion for people. The majority of people who start a project will never finish this step, but you're not one of them, and I'll show you how. There are different ways to write, and it's all based on what the author prefers. If you prefer to write in Microsoft Word, do it. If you prefer Scrivener, do that. If you prefer to write this draft longhand, then by all means go for it. Personally, I use Microsoft Word. For screenplays, I use Final Draft. For longhand, I use a pen and a lined notebook. I've used each one of these ways, except for Scrivener, over the years, and I know what works for me. Use what works best for you. But here's the trick. Your outline becomes your to-do list. You've done the majority of the work already in those pre-production steps, and now is the fun part. It's creating the world and writing dialogue. It's writing the scene. It's writing the first draft, and with your outline by your side, you can highlight the portions you've completed. This turns your outline into a to-do list that must be completed. If you're anything like me, my AuDHD makes me finish to-do lists. If something is on my calendar, it happens. If it's on a task list for me to complete, I'm doing it, come hell or high water. This is why highlighting the outline works for me. Not only do I know where I am when I come back, but my brain wants to see the rest of the outline completed. Seeing it done burns in me until it's done. Sometimes I become obsessed, where I'm having to stay up late in my home office writing into the wee hours. The reward. After you finish each act, take a moment to relish in the small victory. Reward yourself. Have some chocolate. Go to dinner with a family or a loved one. Go play a video game. Do whatever you need to do to blow off steam. You completed an act. The fun part, you'll do this a handful of times before you're all done with the book. And once you're done with the book, give yourself a bigger reward. You earned it. You wrote a book. That's something many people don't get to, but guess what? When you get to this point, you did. Take a break. Buy something for yourself if you can. Go to a bigger dinner. Do something that's big for you because you accomplished something monumental. Relish in the moment of finishing the book and leave the post-production stuff like editing, querying, publishing, and marketing for later. Right now, you have earned a moment to celebrate yourself. For me, the reward part of the stage is what keeps me focused. For my dopamine-starved brain, I get it when I write, but it's exponentially increased when I finish the book. Each book I wrote, I did something different. Towards the end of my 38th year, I created a goal for myself. I wanted to do something that my dad never did. He never had a book published. He never had a screenplay bought, but he did have his plays produced. I've had screenplays produced. I've sold screenplays, and with my new goal, I wanted to do it before I turned 40. That gave me a year and a half to do it, and instead of one, I wrote 3 books between 2024 and 2025. Each time, I used the process above. The first book I wrote, The Survivors of 907 Mallory, unpublished and currently awaiting a young adult middle grade adaptation, was the rewrite of an old screenplay. When I was finished with this book, I paid to have it published at a local print shop. Ironically, it was still in double-spaced Times New Roman, so it was in the area of like 300 plus pages. Still, it was finished. I had written a book. The second book, Just Put the VHS in the Bag Bro, coming June 25th, 2026, was a complete restart of an older screenplay. I called it a page 1 rewrite. I tore everything away and recreated it. I wrote it with a good friend at work, reading it as I went along as an alpha reader. He loved every bit. I finished it on New Year's Eve, 2024. The third book, And the New, it's unpublished, currently in the query stage, I wrote in 7 months. This was the first newer story I'd written since redoing some of my old screenplays. This story threw me into professional wrestling, and yes, my good friend read it along with my writing. He loved every word. This story made this friend, a full adult man, cry. I finished this story in July of 2025. As my 40th birthday neared, my wife got an idea of what to get me, and honestly, it fit perfectly. She got me a WWE Universal Championship commemorative belt. She got the only thing that could fit the absolute manhandling I put the goal I set for myself through. I set out to write 1 book, but I ended up writing 3. I was the champion of this unattainable goal. I tricked my AuDHD into getting here. And as I continue to push forward on every page, my process will stay the same. Like all the great champions of professional wrestling, I'm going to continue to fight. That is to say, to write. If I don't continue to write and put out books or content, then I'm giving consent to someone wanting to meet me with my belt, and then that's someone hitting me with a chair, getting a referee, and pinning me, and taking my belt. For legal reasons, that is a joke. Please don't do that. But in all seriousness, that's how I wrote 3 books. Tricking my AuDHD into doing it. And by telling you all this, I really hope I've inspired you. I'd love to hear the log line for your work in progress in the comments. The best one gets a free paid subscription to my Substack. I can't wait to see what you come up with. With all my heart, Jeffrey Breedwell. And that's it. Yeah, that's actually the truth. You can submit it, your comments, either on the Substack for the actual written blog or on the audiocast, or if you're listening on YouTube, you can submit it there. I know we don't do comments on like Apple Music or Spotify, but if you're listening, wherever you can leave a comment connected to this, I want to hear your best log line. Your best log line, the best one out of the whole group, out of all of those, gets a free paid subscription to my Substack. You don't have to be subscribed to win, but you get that free paid subscription. So I will be like messaging you afterwards for the legal reasons. There's no purchase necessary. This is going to be void outside in the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and Antarctica. So that's all that part needs to say as a little, contest. I want to see your best log lines, whichever one you have. That's the best one. I do have the links and some of the links in the show notes for you as well, including that link, as I said, for Blake Snyder, how he explains the genres and even gives a blank beat sheet on his Save the Cat website. I'm going to have a link for that there. It's going to be in the show notes, so make sure you look at that and you read that. But yeah, it's fantastic on how I did that, and I'm really, really excited and really proud. But I can't help but take that pride in wanting to share it with you to hopefully inspire you. I know that if I can do it, you can do it. But why can you do it? Because I did it. And I'm just no one living in the middle of Indiana. I know you can do it. Regardless of what type of book you're writing, I know you can. You are capable. And if you're not writing and you're just listening to this episode because you want to keep up with what's going on, then you're an amazing person too. Either way, regardless of the reason why you're listening, just know that my dog and now 3 cats love you. We all love you. And with that being said, I'll catch you next time.